TVM, your world, your network.
Hello and welcome to TVM's Metro Update. We are broadcasting live from our studio in Warri, Delta State. I am Perpetual Ere, and these are the news making the rounds this hour. Access to timely emergency healthcare often depends on the availability of critical medical equipment, including ambulances. In Delta State, the Redeemed Christian Church of God Champions Cathedral has stepped in to support public health care by donating 2 ambulances to Ekpan General Hospital and Central Hospital, Warri. The gesture, according to the church, reflects its commitment to complementing government efforts through practical acts of service. Our correspondent reports.
The atmosphere at the Ekpan General Hospital was one of gratitude as the management received a critical asset to boost its emergency response.
As stakeholders in the state and as people, who are led.
Presenting the ambulance, the pastor in charge of the RCCG Champions Cathedral, Pastor Emmanuel Emefiele, emphasized that the church's mission extends beyond preaching the gospel to demonstrating Christ's love through tangible community development.
As God enables us, we'll continue to impact the lives of the people around us by providing things like this and ensuring that lives are impacted and souls are saved.
Delta State's Governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Warri, speaking through the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joseph Onojaeme, lauded the church for its exemplary social responsibility and partner-driven approach to healthcare.
The ambulances being presented today are more than just vehicles. They are life-saving resources that will improve the emergency response services, facilitate the safe transfer of patients, and enhance the capacity of General Hospital Ekpan and Central Hospital Warri to delivering quality healthcare services.
The commissioner subsequently commissioned the vehicle for immediate public use.
For the glory of God. Thank you.
Pastor will now hand over the keys to the ambulance to the Honorable Commissioner, who is representing the Governor of Delta State.
The delegation then proceeded to the Central Hospital, Warri, where a second ambulance was handed over to the hospital's management.
We'll have everything we need on hand to administer first aid.
For us, the church is not just about ministering to people, holding services and programs. We are also about impacting lives.
God made it possible. Is part of CSR as we commemorate our 10th year anniversary to show them a little bit of our love for humanity and for God.
We're empowering people in our church, and we equally felt it would be good or really better if we're able to extend to our neighbors, to our immediate host environment, which comprises 2 major local governments, which is the Warri local government and the Owerri local government.
For the state's healthcare leadership, the gesture is a massive relief that will significantly reduce the emergency response times.
In the last 3 years of this administration, His Excellency have provided the first walk-in CT scan to this facility, and also MRI installation has been completed. And I know that within the next 1 month, the people of Delta State within these environs will be able to put this MRI to use. So we want to thank the the management of the Redeemed Christian Church Champions Cathedral, ably led by the host, Pastor Emmanuel Efe, for this wonderful gesture.
The state-of-art facilities I'm seeing in this ambulance, cases of patients dying because some critical care amenities are not available in the conventional ambulances we have before now, have already been taken.
There's a thin line between life and death, and this is actually timely. This is going to serve as a way to help the community at large and also help the hospital in also moving patients that are of need and in critical care.
With these donations, both Ekman General Hospital and Central Hospital Warri are now better equipped to strengthen emergency medical response and elevate patient care across the region. Tejuri Ikewe, reporting for TVM.
The people of the Isoko Nation have issued a passionate appeal to the Delta State government calling for the immediate completion of the long-abandoned Ozoro 132 kVA power substation. For years, this vital energy project has remained stalled, leaving communities in darkness and severely crippling local economic growth, despite the region's massive contributions to both the state and national coffers. Community leaders and residents emphasize that the Isoko land has contributed immensely to the development of Delta State and Nigeria at large through its abundant oil and gas resources. They argue that it is deeply unjust for a region that fuels the nation's economy to be left without basic, reliable electricity infrastructure to power its own homes and small businesses. Spokesperson for the community clarified that their current demand is neither excessive nor politically motivated, but rather a basic cry for infrastructural justice. They noted that the completion of the 132 kVA power station is a critical need that would instantly transform lives, boost industrialization, and restore a sense of belonging to the people. The Isoko people are now directly urging the state government to prioritize this project without further delay. They maintain that finalizing the Ozoro substation is the most meaningful way for the administration to reciprocate the region's loyalty, patience, and massive socio-economic contributions over the decades. Suspected bandits have reportedly set a primary school on fire in Dekara town, Borgu local government area of Niger State, despite allegedly collecting a 10 million Naira levy from communities in the area. Residents say the attack has heightened fears over the worsening security situation, raising concerns about the safety of lives, schools, and public infrastructure in the affected communities. The incident has sparked fresh calls for stronger security measures and swift government intervention to protect vulnerable rural areas from recurring attacks. Authorities are yet to issue an official statement on the incident, while residents continue to appeal for urgent action to restore peace and prevent further violence. The Nigeria Police Force has rescued 9 kidnapped victims during a security operation in Kaduna State. The mission, however, claimed the lives of 2 police officers who were involved in the rescue effort. According to police authorities, the officers came under heavy attack while confronting the suspected kidnappers, leading to a fierce exchange of gunfire. The rescued victims have since been reunited with their families, while security operatives continue to track down the fleeing suspects and restore calm to the affected area. Police have praised the bravery and sacrifice of the fallen officers, reaffirming their commitment to tackling kidnapping and other violent crimes across the country. The Nigeria Police Force has recovered 2 suspected stolen vehicles during separate operations in Edo State, leading to the arrest of suspects linked to the alleged theft. Police say the vehicles were intercepted following intelligence-led investigations, with the suspects taken into custody for further questioning. Authorities have begun efforts to trace the rightful owners of the recovered vehicles, while investigations continue to uncover possible connections to other criminal activities. The police command has assured residents of its commitment to combating vehicle theft and other crimes, urging the public to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities. Emergency responders have recovered 9 bodies following the collapse of a building in Lagos, while 27 other victims were rescued alive from the rubble. Rescue operations continued through the night as personnel from emergency agencies worked tirelessly to search for possible survivors trapped beneath the debris. Authorities have commenced investigations to determine the cause of the collapse, while with concerns once again raised over building safety and regulatory compliance. The Lagos State government has extended its condolences to the families of the victims and assured the public that those responsible, if found culpable, will be held accountable. The Imo State Police Command has launched an investigation into a deadly explosion that occurred inside a drainage channel along Old Nekede Road in Owerri West local government area. According to the police, 2 suspected scrap metal scavengers lost their lives in the blast, which has raised concerns among residents of the area. Security operatives have cordoned off the scene while investigators work to determine the cause of the explosion and whether explosive materials were involved. Authorities have urged members of the public to avoid handling suspicious objects and to promptly report any unusual discoveries to the appropriate security agencies. The People's Redemption Party has raised concerns over the proposed establishment of state police, arguing that the federal government lacks the public trust needed to implement such a major constitutional reform. The opposition party said that while the debate on state policing is important, the current administration has not built sufficient confidence to oversee a restructuring of Nigeria's policing system. According to the police, creating state police without strong constitutional safeguards could expose the security system to political interference and abuse by state actors. It stated for accountability, professionalism, and adequate protection of citizens' rights. The PRP urged the National Assembly and Nigerians to carefully examine the proposed amendments, insisting that any reform of the country's policing structure should be based on transparency, national consensus, and democratic principles. The federal government has continued to defend the state's police proposal as part of efforts to tackle insecurity, while discussions on the constitutional amendment remain ongoing. The Naira traded at 1,380.10 to the United States dollar at the official foreign exchange market on Thursday, June 25th, according to figures released by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The rate represents a slight increase from 1,380.07 recorded on Wednesday. The parallel market exchange rate around 1,390 per dollar as the foreign exchange market continues to operate under the unified exchange rate system introduced by the central bank in 2023. Under the reforms, all foreign exchange windows were merged into the investors and exporters window, while the Apex Bank reintroduced the willing buyer, willing seller model to improve transparency and market efficiency. The central bank says the reforms are designed to allow market forces to determine exchange rates, with trading taking place between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. daily through authorized dealers and approved financial institutions. Analysts say the marginal movement in the official exchange rates reflects continued stability in the foreign exchange market, although differences between official and parallel market rates remain. The National Examinations Council (NECO) has released the results of the 2026 Basic Education Certificate Examination, with a total of 186,291 candidates participating across Nigeria and selected foreign centers. NECO said candidates sat for 12 subjects during the examination, which was conducted between April 20th and April 30th across the 36 states, the Federal Capital Territory, and 5 foreign countries. The examination board announced that the results were approved during the 2026 BECE Award Committee meeting held at its headquarters in Minna, Niger State, where officials expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the examination. The award committee also approved July 22nd and July 23rd for the conduct of the BEC receipt examination in mathematics and English studies for candidates with deficiencies in either or both subjects. NECO said the receipt examination will provide eligible candidates with another opportunity to meet the requirements for admission into Senior Secondary School 1 while maintaining credible assessment standards. Borno State Governor Babanga Umar Zulum has ordered the immediate closure of the internally displaced persons camp in Bama, citing improved security conditions and concerns over growing criminal activities within displacement camps. The governor made the announcement during an assessment visit to the government secondary school IDP camp in Gwoza, where he disclosed that the Gwoza camp would also be shut down within the next 2 to 3 weeks following the completion of profiling exercises. Zulum said thousands of displaced persons have already been resettled in several communities across Borno State as security conditions continue to improve in areas previously affected by insurgency. The governor, however, expressed concern over the alleged infiltration of some camps by criminal elements and insurgents, warning that the government would no longer tolerate abuses within the displacement system. He also accused some residents of returning to the camps to access humanitarian assistance despite living in their communities, assuring that future resettlement efforts would prioritize safety, stability, and sustainable reintegration. An Nekede State High Court has sentenced 2 men to death by hanging after finding them guilty of kidnapping a staff member of the National Youth Service Corps in Ekiti State. The convicts Ibrahim Abubakar and Abdullahi Abubakar were convicted by High Court 1 sitting in Ado Ekiti, while a third defendant, Usman Abubakar, was discharged and acquitted due to insufficient evidence. The case stemmed from the abduction of NYC staff member Omobo Adesina on April 22nd, 2022. The suspects were later arrested by operatives of the Department of State Services following investigations into the incident. Delivering judgment, Justice Lekon Ogumoye said the prosecution proved its case beyond reasonable doubt, citing the identification parade and analysis of call data records as crucial evidence that led to convictions. President Bola Tinubu has signed into law the repealed and reenacted National Identity Management Commission, or NIMC, Act 2026 at a ceremony held at the presidential villa. The new law empowers the NIMC to harmonize identity records, integrate government databases, and improve data sharing among public institutions to strengthen national digital identity management. Speaking after the signing, Senate President Godswill Akpabio said the integration of NIMC data with the Ministry of Interior's digital platforms recently enabled security agencies to identify and arrest suspected terrorist operatives upon their arrival in Nigeria. Government officials say the amended act will enhance national security, improve public service delivery, and support more efficient verification processes across government agencies. We take a quick break. We'll have more stories when we return. Please stay with us.
Operations and maintenance services and integrated marine services, delivering supply boats, crew boats, tugboats, barges, houseboats, and speed boats. At Dursag Engineering, we are committed to quality, safety, and timely delivery, ensuring that every project meets and exceeds expectations. Dursag Engineering and Services Limited, your trusted partner in delivering world-class engineering and energy solutions.
Stop everything. Something wonderful is about to happen.
It's 7 days of glory.
See what the Lord has The Redeemed Christian Church of God, Champions Cathedral family, Delta Province 20, invites you to her 10th year anniversary celebration. Theme: Wonderful. 7 power-packed days of miracles, worship, divine encounters, and life-transforming ministration from the 22nd to 28th of June 2026. Time: 4:30 p.m. daily.
Ministering Bishop David Abioye, Apostle Joshua Selman, Apostle Michael Oroko, Pastor Isaac Oyedepo, Pastor Poju Oyemade, Pastor E.A. Kalajaye, and Pastor Olufemi Olumide. Host: Pastor Emmanuel Efe Imefenem, Pastor in charge, RCCG Delta Province 20. Ministering in songs are renowned gospel music ministers Chioma Jesus, Nathaniel Bassi, Dusin Onyeko, Mercy Chimo, Mr. M and Revelation, Chinyero Doma, Moses Bliss, Bidemi Olauba, Bukola Beckers, BJ Sachs, Lillian Neji, Sumisola Okeleye, Judy K, Femi Okonuga, Myro Essie, Deshola Akimbole, Abe Ojomo, Ima Oh My God, and the Champions Voices.
Don't miss the explosive praise night on Friday, 26 June by 6 p.m.
and the Grand Thanksgiving finale on Sunday, June 28th. Venue: RCCG Champions Cathedral Main Auditorium, Plot 16 to 18, Airport Road, Efru, Delta State.
Don't be told. 7 days of glory.
Wonderful.
Welcome back from that short break. Kenyan authorities deployed heavy security across Nairobi and other major cities as the country marked the 2nd anniversary of the Gen Z protests that erupted in June 2024 over economic hardship, corruption, and proposed tax increases. The demonstrations, which forced the government to withdraw controversial tax measures, have become a symbol of public dissatisfaction with the administration of President William Ruto. Authorities erected roadblocks, deployed security personnel, and increased surveillance around government facilities as fresh protests were anticipated. According to a police oversight body, at least 127 people have died during protest-related incidents over the past 2 years, prompting renewed concerns over the use of force by security agencies. Many schools and businesses remained closed as residents feared possible violence. President William Ruto acknowledged the right to peaceful protest, but warned against acts of violence and destruction. Meanwhile, opposition figures and civil society groups expressed concern over alleged intimidation, political violence, and the activities of armed groups accused of disrupting demonstrations. Despite the heightened security presence, protesters vowed to honor those who died during previous demonstrations, while analysts say growing economic pressures and political tensions could continue to shape Kenya's political landscape ahead of the 2027 general elections. 4 men have appeared in a Sierra Leonean court in a landmark prosecution against child marriage. The suspects face charges following the forced marriage of a 17-year-old girl on the outskirts of Freetown. Among those being prosecuted are the minor's father, who arranged the union, and the intended groom. This trial marks the first major test of the country's strict prohibition of child marriage act. The case represents a massive shift for the region's legal system, which previously allowed traditional laws to bypass protections for minors. The current legislation completely criminalizes parental consent for underage unions. If convicted under the strict laws, the defendants face a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison. The Ministry of Justice has vowed to use the case to deter forced marriage nationwide. Nigerian music star Davido has released his highly anticipated soundtrack titled I Know Who I Be, generating excitement among fans and music lovers. The new release showcases Davido's signature sound while delivering a message of confidence, identity, and resilience, adding another notable project to his growing catalog. Since its release, the soundtrack has sparked conversations across social media, with fans praising its production, lyrics, and overall delivery. Industry observers expect the song to perform strongly on streaming platforms as Davido continues to reinforce his position as one of Africa's leading global music stars. Content creator Pella has publicly criticized rapper YC after the musician linked him to Nigeria's trending Olodo uprising conversation, which has gained traction across social media. Pella accused YC of hypocrisy and disrespect, insisting that the rapper's comments unfairly targeted Pella has publicly criticized rapper YC after the musician linked him Content creator Pella has publicly criticized rapper YC after the musician linked him to Nigeria's trending Olodo uprising conversation, which has gained traction across social media. Pella accused YC of hypocrisy and disrespect, insisting that the rapper's comments unfairly targeted him and misrepresented his role in the viral online trend. The exchange has sparked widespread reactions online, with fans and commentators weighing in on the ongoing debate surrounding the phrase Olodo uprising and its implications. As the conversation continues to trend, neither side has indicated any willingness to back down, leaving social media users closely following the unfolding feud. Global oil prices have fallen to their lowest levels in 4 months as easing tensions between the United States and Iran improved market confidence and increased crude shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. Brent crude futures dropped to about $72 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell below $70, extending losses recorded since the recent ceasefire agreements involving the United States, Iran, and Israel. Analysts attribute the decline to rising oil supplies from the Middle East, improving shipping activity through the Strait of Hormuz, and expectations that Iran could increase exports following a temporary easing of sanctions. Authorities in Oman have also introduced temporary shipping routes to ease tanker congestion, while energy officials express confidence that crude exports through the strategic waterway would continue despite ongoing geopolitical uncertainties. Market observers say oil prices in the coming weeks will depend on the durability of the ceasefire arrangements, progress in diplomatic negotiations, and the stability of global energy supply routes. A major wildfire has broken out in Glossop, Derbyshire, as the United Kingdom continues to experience an intense heat wave, with soaring temperatures increasing the risk of fires across several regions. Firefighters have been deployed to contain the blaze, while residents in nearby communities have been urged to stay away from affected areas and follow safety advisories. Authorities say the prolonged hot and dry conditions have created an environment where wildfires can spread rapidly, prompting heightened vigilance across the country. Emergency services remain on the scene as efforts continue to bring the fire under control, with officials monitoring weather conditions to prevent further outbreaks. At least 188 people have been confirmed dead following the devastating twin earthquakes that struck Venezuela, with more than 1,500 people injured and hundreds still trapped beneath collapsed buildings. Authorities say the powerful 7.2, 7.5 magnitude earthquakes struck within 1 minute of each other causing widespread destruction in Caracas and the coastal state of La Guaira, where more than 100 buildings reportedly collapsed. Emergency officials disclosed that about 200 people remain trapped, while nearly 3,000 families have been displaced after losing their homes. Rescue teams, military personnel, and humanitarian agencies continue search and rescue operations across affected communities. Witnesses described scenes of panic as residents fled shaking buildings. Survivors said they spent the night outdoors after their homes were damaged, while officials warned that the final death toll could rise as more victims are recovered from the rubble. Authorities and international relief agencies are continuing efforts to locate survivors, provide medical assistance, and support displaced families as Venezuela confronts one of the deadliest earthquakes in its recent history. Over to sports. Tennis legend Serena Williams is set to make her long-awaited return to Wimbledon after a 4-year absence, making a major moment in the sport. The former world number one is expected to face Britain's Johanna Konta in her opening match as fans eagerly anticipate her comeback to the prestigious Grand Slam. Williams' return has generated excitement across the tennis world, with many eager to see how the 23-time Grand Slam champion performs after spending years away from competitive action. The highly anticipated comeback adds another exciting storyline to this year's Wimbledon, as Serena looks to once again leave her mark on the famous grass courts. Nigeria has recorded another milestone in international basketball, with 6 players of Nigerian heritage selected in the historic 2026 NBA draft. The class features a blend of homegrown talent developed through the NBA Academy Africa and outstanding diaspora athletes who excelled in the United States college basketball system. Among those drafted are Ugonna Onyenso, Zubi Ejiofor, Felix Okpara, Otega Owe, Toby Lawal, and Ebuka Okore, highlighting Nigeria's growing influence on the global basketball stage. Sports analysts say the achievement reflects the country's expanding talent pipeline and reinforces Nigeria's reputation as one of Africa's leading producers of world-class basketball players. Ivory Coast has qualified for the knockout stage of the tournament for the first time after defeating Curaçao in a decisive group stage encounter. The victory capped a determined performance by the Ivorians, who controlled key moments of the match to secure the result they needed. Players and coaching staff celebrated the milestone, describing it as a reward for the team's resilience, discipline, and hard work throughout the competition. With their place in the knockout rounds now confirmed, Ivory Coast will shift focus to the next challenge as they continue their quest for tournament success. Ecuador and head coach Sebastien Bekasisi have bounced back from what many described as a World Cup qualification nightmare, restoring confidence ahead of the tournament. The team's recent performances have eased concerns following a difficult period marked by inconsistent results and mounting pressure on the coaching staff. Bekasisi praised his players for their resilience and determination, saying the squad remained focused despite the criticism and challenges they faced. With renewed momentum and qualification hopes firmly on track, Ecuador now shifts its attention to building a strong campaign ahead of the FIFA World Cup. And that wraps up Metro Updates. You can watch us on the go via TVM's app, accessible on Android Play Store. Watch and follow us on all our social and digital platforms. I am Perpetual Iyere. Thanks for watching and have a great day ahead of you.
Thank you.